recording this session, so I can send it to you all. Okay, so unit 6. The unit is 2.3. It's all about follow legislation relating to the health and safety of children. So do we know what's the legislation about the health and safety for the children? So here, if you open question 1.1, it says summarize current legislation and guidance relating to health and safety of children. Do we know anything about the current legislation? So Humaira, by the way, you see here 1.1 current legislation and guidance. Everything is in the book, yes? So all you need is just to read, understand the book, and start doing your coursework in your own way. You shouldn't copy and paste. You should just write it in your own way. So the current legislation, can you think about some of the current legislation that we have in the UK?
Yeah,
so first of all, sorry. Yeah, anyone would like to contribute? Okay, so we have Health and Safety at Work Act 1974. And what is this legislation all about? That employers must take responsible steps to protect the health and safety of their staff. So any employer has to take care of his employees, okay? Not only the employees, but also the visitors to this place, to any company there. And the employer with more than 5 employees must have a written health and safety policy. So if the company has got more than 5 employees, they should have health and safety policy to show the duty of everyone regarding health and safety, what action they should take in any situations. So this is the first one. Second one is Health and Safety First Aid Regulation 1981. What is this all about? This deals with the first aid in workplace and includes the needs to have first aid box. So each company would have to have a first aid box, and someone of the staff member who's been trained as first aider. So it's very important. Each company should have someone who's been trained as first aider and also first aider box. The third one is the Manual Handling Operations Regulations 1980.
Good morning.
Hello,
Sorry.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sakina. Thank you. Good morning.
So what is this regulation all about? This regulation is about preventing injuries or accident when member of the staff lifting any object or a person. So this is a guidance. So this regulation, the Manual Handling Operation Regulation 1992, is all about guiding people and to prevent any injuries or accident when they lift any object or a person. Because normally, like if you work, let us say in health organization, you might have to hold a very heavy items or a person. So you need to take care of yourself, not to get back injury. So what you should do, we should do a risk assessment, and also we should, one of the staff should be trained on lifting safely. So the staff who hold any objects, they need to be trained. Normally, if you work in any health organization, they should give you this, a training for manual handling. If you work in a hospital, if you work, because this is important. You might hold a very heavy item and you don't know how to hold it, then you hurt your back. Yeah. So this is very important legislation as well. Also, the reporting of injuries, diseases, and dangerous occurrence regulation 1995. What's this all about? This legislation, this regulation require employers to report any injuries, diseases, serious accident to the health and safety executive. So the employer has to report anything, any dangerous, any injuries, any disease could happen in their organization, any accident might happen in their organization. They should report it immediately. Also, the control of substance hazard and health regulation 2002. What's this all about? A range of regulation about the use of storage, use and store of chemicals and substance that could be dangerous. So in the nursery, you will have lots of, let us say, any disinfectants or any items might be chemical. It's very dangerous. So this regulation will ensure that the nursery would take extra care to store these chemicals properly. Otherwise, it might be very dangerous for the health of the children if they are exposed to them. And also, the manager should always do risk assessment and check if they are stored properly, if there is a lock on the door, if they are labeled properly. So this is very, very important. Another regulation there, the regulatory reform, fire safety order 2005. What is this all about? There are many fire regulations. These regulations require the employer to focus on many things, such as carry out risk assessment. So the employer should always do risk assessments. It's very important to minimize any danger in the organization. Also, the equipment to fight the fire should be always there. Blanket for fire, fire extinguisher is very important to have them always in a place. For me, even myself, I have it in the house because it's very important. You have to have this. How about if you work with children, then you definitely need to take care of them. And also have a person who's in charge of the fire safety. So could be the manager, could be a supervisor, or one of the employees get extra training and become a person who's in charge of the fire safety. Also, these equipments should be there at all times, as we said, blanket for fire blanket or fire extinguisher. There is another regulation, which is the food hygiene, England regulation 2006. What is it all about? These regulations to ensure food safety include the need for some earlier setting to provide food to be registered. So the food always should be registered. We should always make sure that of the expiry date. We should always make sure we handle the food, the person who handling the food has got training in food hygiene. It's very important. Also, the need for the premises to check where the food is stored. Is it hygienic? Is the fridge clean? Is the temperature right? This is very, very important for food hygiene. And also, another regulation, which is Child Care Act in England 2006. Child Care Act applies mainly in England, but similar legislation are there in another part like Wales and Scotland. What is it all about? Have a health and safety policy to carry out risk assessment. So we need always make sure to have risk assessment in the organization. Also to keep record of any accident might happen, any emergencies. If we take the kids to the hospital, we need to register that, and to have no smoke policy. Also, no smoking policy. Why? Because people might be smokers, like any of the care assistants. They might smoke from time to time, but not in the nursery. When you're in the nursery, you shouldn't be allowed to smoke, and there should be a no smoking policy. And also the staff to be trained on pediatric first aider, which is very important. The staff should know, all of them, the evacuation procedure, just in case there is an alarm and the manager is not there. So all the staff need to know what's the evacuation procedure. And also to train all the staff involved in the food preparation and handling. So we talked about this, like all the people who handle food, they need food hygiene certificate. They need to be trained on food hygiene. Also to check the identity of the visitor. So people who are allowed to get into the nursery, we need to know who are they, their ID, their names. Are they being booked in to see someone, or what is this regarding? This is all very important, and you do a badge for them when they enter the place. And also the minimum staff for child care, the minimum statutory that they know. So what's the minimum? They need to be trained. What type of training? What's the minimum requirement for them to work in this sector? Also the minimum space required for the child. So if you have, let us say you are planning to open a nursery in the future, you shouldn't just open a nursery and you start filling it with kids. No, you need, first of all, to register with the council. Second thing, you need to minimize how much, to measure how much space you have for, and then you can count how many kids, because there are regulations to tell you exactly for this age group, you need at least this space for this age group. So there are specific measurements for each child. So you make sure that there is a minimum space requirements for all these children, so they can play normally and have a good day. So now for me, if I was going to answer this question, summarize current legislation. When it says summarize, this means not only put their names, you put description about it. So now what we've done is answering 1.1, the current legislation and guidance relating in health and safety for the children. Is this understood so far?
Yes.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
So now, thank you. Now, 2.1, identify policies and procedure relating to health and safety of children. So if I go now and look for the policy, so all the organization for childcare should have policy and procedure in place. These policies and procedure might be very similar from, like, for all the nurseries, and might be different from place to place. But mainly there are some policies are similar in all the organizations, all the nurseries. So what are these policies? Can you think about some of these policies, please?
Smoking policy.
Very good. So no smoking policy, that's first one, which we just talked about. Yes, very good. So you can, as well as this, you can little bit write about it. So no smoking policy is mean if for any childcare organization, that smoking is not allowed, so people shouldn't be smoking even in their break time. Why? Because the smoke is bad for the kids. Second policy, as your colleague said, first aider policy, which means there should be at least one person who is trained as a first aider in the organization, so can deal with any fire situation could happen. And also we should have all the equipments needed to put off any fire, such as fire blanket, fire extinguisher, and it's very important. And also, any other policies you can think of?
Collection policy.
Okay, thank you. So collection policy, do we know what's collection policy? It's all about when the parents collecting their children. So the nursery should have a collection policy. Who is the person who's collecting this child? And they need to be reported to the management or to the people there. It needs to be the same person all the time, unless if this person is not coming, he should inform us in advance who's coming to collect the child. So it is very important to know who's collecting these children. Otherwise, you would be giving them to anyone coming to say, can I collect this person, this child or this child? So there is a collection policy in place. And also outing policy, risk assessment. We know what's all this because we need to do risk assessment anyway. Evacuation policy, like if there is any fire, where the employees should evacuate, where is the point where they gather. All this needs to be in a place. Yeah, so you need to just say, in my organization, these are some of the policies we have, and just talk a little bit about each policy, just like what we did now. Okay?
Yeah.
Would be great if you can talk about yourself as in my organization, we have this the policies below, and then just a little bit about each policy would be great. Also, safeguarding policy you have, definitely, because you need to protect the children, and so the safeguarding policy is always in a place. So there are many policies there you can think of. You can put it here if you have it in your own nursery.
With who we should share the image when we take a picture of the children. We shouldn't share it in public website or something like that.
Very good. Yes, excellent. You shouldn't. There is no fault, like you shouldn't take pictures of the children. You shouldn't be sharing them on these are the procedures that you follow in, because here it says was the policies and procedures. Very good. So these are the policies, the procedures. We should always have a password to our computers, and also if we have the information written, we should lock the cupboards. As your colleague said, we shouldn't take pictures of the children. We shouldn't share their pictures on any social media. That's not allowed. These are our procedures. We should. All the staff should be trained on food hygiene if they serve food to the kids, and to make sure that we always serve children good food. And what else we can think of? All the procedures that you have, put it over there. Yeah. How about this question? Analyze how legislation and guidance for health and safety inform day-to-day work with children. So how legislation and guidance for health and safety inform day-to-day work with children. So if I go to 2.2, so how these legislation affect our work. So for example, to answer this question, I would just write it as it is now. So I have legislation for health and safety first aid regulation 1981. This is it informs our day-to-day work in the nursery by us to have first aid box always in a place. Also, a person who's at least one person should be trained as first aider, should be presented at all times. And his training will be in pediatric first aider qualification. That's very, very important. Also, regarding the manual handling operation regulation 1992, what did affect our work in the nursery? It did affect our day-to-day as staff are trained on how to lift children, equipments, and any sandwich tray or any heavy equipments, any wheels. We should always make sure that we know how to do this following the right procedure. Third one is reporting of injuries, diseases, dangerous occurrence, regulations 1995. What is it all about? It's all about incidents, any emergencies. If we take any children to the hospital, if we take one of the staff to the hospital, everything happening in the nursery, which you count as accident or incident or emergency or even a disease, if any disease has happened, we need to make sure we always have to report it. We need, first of all, to record it in a staff book and also to report it. So why that is because we need to follow the EYE's safeguarding and welfare requirements. So for us, we have to record these incidents and also record it in a book and also inform the parents about it as soon as possible. How about control of substance and hazardous to health regulation 2002? What did affect our work? So cleaning material are always kept locked in a cupboard, and we need to use gloves, disposable gloves, when we start cleaning with these chemicals. So why we lock them in a cupboard? And why we have specific labels to them? Because we need to protect these children and also to protect the staff so they know which one to be used for what. And also we need to wear gloves at all times, disposable gloves when we clean. Like, let us say there is a spillage. We don't, like the child carer do not do the cleaning. Mostly there is a cleaner there, but if this is very small nursery and there is spillages, then the child carer would just wipe it off, clean it, put some disinfectant to make sure the area is dry, no one can slip over it. First, she has to put the yellow sign, the warning sign, to make sure that no one slip over it as well. So that's very, very important. How about the regulatory reform? Fire Safety Order 2005. How did this change the work in the nursery? There should be fire exit, and these fire exits are always kept clear. we shouldn't put boxes to block this area, because we might need them for emergency, so it should be always clear and following the EYE's safeguarding and welfare requirements. There are always fire practice for us to follow. Always fire equipment we need to have, and a person who's always fire trained. So if there is any fire, they know how to use the extinguisher and how to get the stuff out. So all this needed for us to do. So it should be a person who's trained for fire safety. Also, the Food Hygiene England regulations 2006. What about these regulations? Freezers are always, we should keep the right temperature there. And also we should check it weekly. If is there any moldy food, anything gone expired, we should take it out. Any uncooked food should be separated from cooked food, because we shouldn't mix them up in the same shelf in the fridge. And always the kitchen should be clean. If you cut anything, any raw meat or any food on the surface, you should always clean it. So following the EYE safeguarding welfare requirements, staff are trained on food handling. So for you, when you work in a nursery, they would give you training with first aid. They would, if you like, because at least would be 1 or 2 people trained on first aid. Also, you would have food hygiene training. You need also what's that? What else? You need manual handling, so you know how to hold the baby or the children, don't hurt your back. So these are very, very important. So how about Children Child Care Act 2005? The EYE safeguarding and welfare requirements are like below. So the staff to child ratios is very important. So shouldn't be just one person taking care of the whole nursery. Should be the ratio for the children to the staff should be good. And the bank staff are always there. So if one of the staff feel ill or cannot make it that day, absent for any reason, then we call the bank staff, to make sure that there are good ratios for staff and children. Also, no smoking policy, which we just spoken about. No smoking means the child carers are not allowed to smoke anywhere in the premises. Visitors also part of this regulation. Why? Because visitors they should always show an identity. They should sign in the book, and we need to know why they are there as well. Safety of the children at the end of the session was all about that the staff should check the children before they go home, that the right person is coming to collect the right child. Make sure of this at all times, and this person should be authorized to pick the child. That's very, very important. So now we have answered this question as well. Now describe the procedure. So, sorry, I forgot to ask you, is there any questions so far?
No, it's clear for me.
Okay, excellent. So what the procedure for registration and collection of the children? So this is, sorry, not here. So now if I'm following this question, 2.3, describe procedures for registration of children. So what's the procedure to register the children? So now we all either have kids, or if you don't have kids, maybe you've been working in a child care organization by now, or at least doing some voluntary work. So to register the child, it's very important procedure. So all the early years setting will require this to be have in a place to register the children as they enter the setting. It's very important. And important, why? Because sometimes accident happened, like a fire will happen in the, God forbidden, in the nursery, and then you wouldn't know how many kids are there. So what you need to do is make sure to register any child who's entering the nursery on that day. And also, when you evacuate the children, if there is any fire, you need to evacuate them. So you wouldn't know who's left in the nursery because you don't have any register. So register is very important. Now, even you, for us, we are doing just normal class. I'm doing a register, not myself, but it's automatically done when you enter the online class. Will automatically give me a report at the end of the session. So it is very important to register the people who enter in the session for me, and as well as that for any nursery. It is very important. Why? Because accident can happen, and then if you evacuate from the nursery, then you would at least know how many kids were inside, how many are outside now. Are they all outside? If not, you need to go fast and bring them, or report it to your manager if the fire is like taking over the place. So that's why we need to have this policy, this in place, which is registering the children. How about collection the children? Do we know anything about collection the children?
Yes, to make sure that we are going to give to the right person.
Yes, excellent. Any other things?
If the child left earlier, we need to register them.
Yes, very good. So we need to take him off the register, because why? If the fire has happened, why after that, when the child's been taken home, you will be so worried. You think he's still inside, because you wouldn't have in your mind any idea, only this register. You just follow it. So we need to register them when they are collected. And also the name of the person who's allowed to take the child. It's very, very important. So we need
right information. Yeah.
Excellent. If the person who's collecting them is not one of the parents, then we need written permission. Is very important. Any other things you can think of?
If they are collecting them, if the child have injury or hurt themselves, to explain to the parent before we give it to them.
Okay, yes, very good. So the register of the children is very, very important. That when he get in the place and when he get out of the place. As we said, because if there's any evacuation might happen, we wouldn't know how many kids are still there. We would think they are still there while they've been taken by their parents. So register is very important. Now, if I go back to the question, so this is about the registering of the children, the collection of the children. Now, explain why it is important to take a balanced approach to risk management. So if I go to which question is that? It's 3.1. We will get back to this when we do the reflection account. Now we need to go to 3.1. Okay. So now 3.1, where is this one? Okay, yeah, we got 3.1. So the importance of balanced approach to risk management. So risk assessment is very important. Why? Because we minimize this risk. We need to check if there is anything could lead into any accident or anything dangerous, then we prevent it. So it is necessary to find balance, that the children still can play, can have fun while they are still active. Even if the area, like we can't just put the children in one spot and keep monitoring them until their parents comes, just to prevent risk.
Yeah,
Why? Because these children wouldn't learn anything.
Yeah, I think the child needs to know to recognize risk to avoid it. If the
Very
child
good.
doesn't know, yeah,
Yes. And also for us, we need to make sure that there is no risk. So that's why we do risk assessment. We monitor how much risk involved if we take this child to play in the garden, for example, or make sure there is no stone, there is nothing they can hurt themselves, like any stick, there is no glass, someone has been broken on the floor. Make sure everything is clean, everything tidy. So that's why, sorry, just 1 second. Okay, and also that we also know that the child have experience of a range of situations, activities. In order they can learn, they need to do all these activities. We can't prevent them from having fun just because it's risky. They might fall, they might hurt each other. So that's why we need to allow the children to play. In the meanwhile, we need to make sure of the risk involved. We need to check it. Okay. Most of the setting, therefore, they create environment which is safe for the child. That's why we need to do a risk assessment. Children should have lots of activities, but in the meantime, they should minimize the risk to the least, or make it even extremely rare having this accident. Or so they have to do the risk assessment. So, for example, in your workplace, you might start observing the children. You might have lots of accidents because you use different tools, different sanitary materials, chemicals. You have the children as well. They might have physical skills. They might like to climb on things. They might like to jump. All this might create risk for them. So for us, we need to minimize this risk to the minimum. That's by doing risk assessment. Okay. So now, sorry, this is going small. Why it is important to make a balance? Because even though there are risks involved, the child might fall, but they need to develop. So we have to allow them to play. We have to allow them to jump. We have to allow them. But in the meantime, we do risk assessment. That's why how we
Child care class.
say again. Yeah, sorry, say again.
எங்க மார்க்கிங்ல நான் அதுக்கு பதியலையே வைகா இல்ல அதுக்கு பதியல.
Sorry, I don't understand that. Could you please speak in English?
യോ അത് മേക്കിത്താണ് അത്. അതിന്റെ ഇതുകൾ இன்னுം വരെയില്ല என்ன மாதிரின்னு தெரியல. பதிஞ்சதுதான் நான் இன்னும் அதை பற்றின ஒரு இதுவும் வரையில.
She speak on the phone.
Sorry, is that about the class or are you talking to someone next to you?
இப்ப வகுப்பு நடக்குது பின்ன அப்படியே நிறுத்துறது.
I think we should mute her. Just press the mute. I don't think she's aware of it.
Yeah, probably not aware of it. Sorry, who's this? Do you think is Akila? Who's talking at this moment?
I'm here, but it's...
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
വിളങ്ങില്ല. ഓ ഇനി ഈസ്റ്റർ ഹോളിഡേയോടെ താനേ.
Okay, now let us go to next question, which is 3.3. So we done 3.2, 3.1. 3.2 is in the reflective. Now 3.3. Describe how health and safety risk assessment are monitored and reviewed. So how we can monitor these risk assessment and how we can review it. Is it good? Is it bad? How we can develop it. Can you think about ways to do that? Let me just go to 3.2. Sorry. 3.3. So how we can monitor and review the health and safety risk assessment. We should always keep.
Sorry.
We should keep monitoring all the steps of.
Okay, excellent, very good. We should always keep monitoring the risk assessment. Why? Because we don't know whether we've done a good job of it or not. Maybe we've done the risk assessment, but the children still have accidents. So if there is anything wrong with our risk assessment, then we can change our ways. So risk assessment is very important to prevent accident. And we need to follow it step by step. Is it still effective for the organization, or do we need to change it? Because there is, for example, we made the changes in the garden, and now the children are having an accident whenever they go to certain area. So we need to change our risk assessment to make it up to date at all times. Make sure it's effective, it's still working. Children are having no accident. How many accidents occur? So we need to check. Do we need to change our risk assessment procedure? And that is very important. Yeah. So we know how many accidents has happened, and then we can decide whether our risk assessment is effective or it's not.
When we do the risk assessment, I can't understand, sorry.
Yeah, so for example, you would like to plan an activity. This activity, you taking the kids outside to the garden. You can't just take them to the garden. You need to do a risk assessment. So how you do it, you go to the garden, make sure there is no stones on the floor, everything clean. Yeah, there is no water, they can slip over it. There is no holes in the floor. There is no tiles sticking out to hurt them. So this is risk assessment.
We check authority. Oh, okay, thank you.
You're
And we
welcome.
need, for example, we need to check the equipment in the garden every morning before children attend the nursery.
Very good. And also, if there is any equipment, is it dangerous for the kids? For example, a grass cutter. Are you leaving it in the garden? This is maybe hazard for the kids. They might play with it. They wouldn't know they might cut their finger. Or... Yeah. So risk assessment, you take it whenever you plan to do any activities for the children. In the morning before the kids arrive, make sure everything is clean and tidy. There is nothing dangerous there. The kitchen is always clean. Should be no bacteria, nothing, no cutters, nothing on the surface. So risk assessment is always needed. And also we check, is this certain activities good for the child age? Because we might take him out for certain activities, but the age is not appropriate for this type of activities. They are too young to play, for example, football with the older kids. That's why we always should do risk assessment. So it is very important to for us to do it. And also to monitor whether this the risk assessment was effective. So if we done lots of risk assessments, but we have lots of accident has happened, that means our risk assessment is not good enough. The procedure, we need to change it. We need to create a new risk assessment. Okay, and we need to check which one of these accidents has happened more often. For example, the kids are always falling when they go to the garden. So here we need to put extra steps to make sure this doesn't happen again. Okay?
Yes.
So this is how you monitor. This is how you monitor and review the risk assessment. So if there are too many accidents has happened in a certain area, then the risk assessment we take in may be not good enough. Then we have to change it. We have to review it, why this accident has happened, and then we have to make changes. Is this understood so far?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes, please.
Great, thank you so much. So now 3.4, support children in own setting to manage risk. Where actually, to be honest, this should have been in your reflective account. I'm going to send these files again. Just move this one to risk assessment. Yeah, so I'm going to move it for you after the class and send you the correct ones, because I didn't notice that this one needs to be reflective account as well. Why? Because it's talking about you.
Yeah.
How you can support children in your own nursery to manage risk. So how you can support children to manage risk in your own nursery.
What you gonna to take off, please? Sorry.
So say it again.
What you gonna to take off? You said.
No,
From
what you going to
changes.
do? Yeah, what you going to do to help the children to manage risk? So for you, you're working in a nursery, okay? How you can help these children not to have this risk? So first of all, you need to talk about them, to talk to them about the danger, the hazard might happen. If they keep jumping, they might hurt themselves. They might step on someone else's foot. They might fall. So you need to talk to them about the danger might happen. Yeah.
Yes.
So you need to tell them. It's very important for you, because the children wouldn't know how to manage risk. But for you, you can say, can you don't do this? Can you please don't jump from the, can you, if you're sitting on the chair, don't jump from this chair to the floor because that's dangerous. You might fall. We do it even with the children in normal environment, not only in the in nursery. So we need to give them a lot more information to draw their attention into the potential hazard involved. So if they are, for example, on the stairs, I would say, can you please get off the stairs? It's very dangerous. You might fall and break your teeth, for example. Yeah. So we need to explain to them if they are in any risky situation, can you please don't do that because this might happen, and then you can. So for me to answer this question, I would say in my nursery where I work, I always take care of the children. I make sure to tell them, to draw their attention to any risky situation so they don't hurt themselves. For example, if they were sitting on chairs and tried to stand on the chair, I would say, can you please get off the chair? Don't stand on the chair because it's dangerous. You might, the chair might move and then you will fall. And also if they're on the stairs, I will ask them to get down. I like to give them all the freedom and make them experiment and have fun in their lives. But in the meantime, I need to tell them whenever there is any risky situation so they can take care of it and make sure that they don't fall or hurt themselves. Also, if there is any, when the children become older, they would have more experience. So maybe I can just monitor these children. I wouldn't need to tell them as much as the younger ones because the younger ones has no experience in potential hazard. So I can just encourage them to manage the risk themselves.
And
If they were younger, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, for example, supervise them how to use scissors or a fork.
Very good. If they were cutting things, I would say, can you please make sure do not hurt yourself? You might cut your finger with the scissors. Normally, the scissors are not hard enough to cut just papers if you're playing with them, but they are just suitable for playing. But you need to teach them because in the house they might use a real scissor and they might hurt themselves. So you need to tell them that the scissors are good for cutting, but they are very dangerous. We might cut our fingers, we might hurt ourselves, we might hurt our brothers and sisters at home. So at home, do not use the scissors. We use it here only because this scissor is not hard enough to cut things. Safe, exactly. So that's a very good idea. You can put this example. You say in my nursery, like when we play with papers, I allow them to use the safety scissors to cut papers, but I always should tell them if they use it at home, any scissors, they should be very careful because the real ones are dangerous for us. We can cut our hands, fingers, we can hurt our brothers and sisters. So we need to take care of that.
And we can give a note to parents as well if accidentally child hurts themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
the collection.
Yeah, if the child accidentally hurt themselves, we should inform the parents immediately. Yeah, that's good. So to answer this question, helping the children to manage risk, because if you read the question, it says support children in own setting to manage risk, which means in your own organization, what do you do? So I can't say child carer should do this. No, in your setting. So you need to talk about yourself. I say in my setting, I always make sure that the children are safe. I give them all the freedom they need to play and experiment and develop their skills and knowledge. However, in the meantime, I need to support the children by giving them lots of information about how to manage risk if there is. If the children very young, I need to give them information and also help them to get off the dangerous situation. While if they are getting a little bit older, I like to tell them all the information and help them to rely on themselves to manage the risk involved. So, for example, when I use the safety scissors, when we use it in a group to cut colored papers to do activities with the older kids, I need to always make sure to tell them about the danger of using scissors in the normal situations and how can we manage that. So at home they wouldn't use real scissors to cut things because this could hurt their fingers, their hands, they could even hurt their siblings. So it is very important for me to
Lana?
Yes.
Yeah, I've got a question. Because I'm not in the setting at the moment, what I did on my previous reflections is I just made it as in general and what I would have done if I was in the setting. Can I answer it that way?
No, just act as if you're in the nursery and answer this question. Yeah, you can't answer general because the awarding body will think that you don't have experience. Everyone should have experience by now in voluntary work or so. For the moment, just imagine you are in this situation. What would you have done? Just say in my nursery, I do this, I did this. You can say I did if you have previous experience, but you can say I do this, I do that. But you shouldn't just make it general because this is about your own setting, your own experience. What would you have done if you were in this situation? Yeah?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. And now if we, okay, so now we finished the normal questions. Are we all clear about the normal questions? Yeah, so I'm just going to move this one to the other sheet where it says reflective account, because this is reflective as well. This is about your own skills, your own experience, and how you can manage risk. Okay, so now let us start answering these questions where it says reflective account. So each one of you will have to read it. Write it about your own experience. How would you do that in your own setting? So for example, 3.2, carry out risk assessment within own setting. So in your own nursery, how would you carry out risk assessment? Let us go to 3.2 and see what the book has there for us. And then I can tell you what we do to manage risk. So 3.2. Okay, so risk assessment is very important. We need to manage any risk in the area before we take these kids to, for example, take them out to the garden, to do anything with them. So we need to make sure there is no risk involved. So what are the steps for us to process the risk assessment? In general, now we're talking, and then I will answer it as if I'm answering this question in your behalf.
Identify potential hazards.
Yes, for the so risk assessment is not difficult. Anyone can do it. Any one of us should know how to do it. And also, after a while, by practice, you will learn how to do it and do it well. And then you can, as we talked about, you do reviewing. If there are so many accidents happening while you're doing this risk assessment, then there is something wrong in the process you following. So you need to monitor and also correct it. So risk associated with different age groups. So there are too many different types of risk assessment. So risk could be associated with different age group of the children. So you can't put all the children from different age group to do the same task. That's why you need to do risk assessment. Is the ages of the children are suitable for the activities we're giving them to? Is it good for them? Or we need different activities because of their age? They are too old or too young for this particular activities. And also we need to monitor many things. For example, like the child until they are 18 months, most of the babies, toddlers will automatically put object into their mouth. Is these objects are clean, good enough? Or should we just take it out as soon as they put it in their mouth? We need, and also, are they small? Are these things they put in their mouth, are they very small? They might swallow it, they might choke on it. It's very dangerous. So there are so many risks here involved. Also, it's very important for us to for every child they have additional needs. If they are disabled, then is this activity suitable for them, for their age group? So we need not only to monitor the child age, we need to monitor the child skills and abilities. If the children cannot see very well, they have limited sight, we need to make sure that the area they walk in is not cluttered with toys or cluttered with things, otherwise they might fall or hurt themselves. So there are so many risks involved, not only about the child age, but also about this child skills and abilities. So how would you do this risk assessment? First of all, we identify potential hazard. Any hazard or any risk in the area, we need to identify it. So, for example, if the child has got allergy reaction, we might need to check if the food has this allergic item inside. Also, if the child if child is eating something not suitable for them. For example, they have skin condition. If there is also maybe this food could spread infection. Is it being prepared properly? Is it being put in the fridge properly? So we need, first of all, to identify the hazard, to check what's the hazard involved and check it. Second thing we need to do, so here more risk involved. So you can say if the babies are not non-mobile, like they can't move, they maybe start wiggling and then they might fall from the surface if they keep moving, or maybe during the nappy changing. So this is all examples of the risk might be happening. Also, if they take object in their mouth, as we said, but it's not clean. Also, the food we're giving them has got any allergic reaction to them. If the child can't move, maybe they move a lot and they hurt themselves. Maybe they put something in their mouth. Maybe they pick up something, any dirty object from the floor and eat it. So there are so many risks involved. If they are toddlers, there are so many risks involved. If they are extremely active, they might climb and fall. They might start jumping, step on their friends, their other kids' feet. They might hurt themselves by doing any activities. So we need to monitor them. Also between 3 to 5 years old, there are so many risks involved. Maybe they start copying adults. They copy their parents, whatever their parents say doing. So while it is not suitable for them, any activities, maybe they engage in certain kind of playing which is not good for them, or watching some materials not good for them. So there are so many dangerous things they can have an effect on them. So first of all, we need to monitor the risk involved in certain activities. Second step, we consider steps to minimize or eliminate the hazard. So what we can do to eliminate the hazard, maybe we ask the parents about the children if they have any allergy reaction. So as soon as the child get into the nursery, we register them in the beginning of the day one, and then we ask for any allergy reaction to minimize the risk. Yeah. And also we supervise the children when they do activities. Make sure they don't eat too much because it's not good for them. So this is, we consider steps to minimize or eliminate hazard. Number 3, we evaluate the potential hazard involved, the potential risk involved in that hazard. So we need to evaluate how much risk are we taking if we allow the child to still do this, even though it's very risky for them. So risk of accident or incident, we need to make sure we check how much risk could be involved. And then the fourth steps, we need to write this risk assessment. It's very important. Why? Because if accident could still happen, even if you do risk assessment. But if you have it all written, then no one can blame you. Like you'll be monitoring the kid, you'll be doing risk assessment, you've been following the kids and make sure they don't hurt themselves. And you've done everything you can. So writing your records or finding is very important. And also in the near future, you might, even with the risk assessment, you might notice that there are so many accidents has happened. And then you realize, well, you know what? I need to monitor my risk assessment, maybe change it. Maybe extend the way I'm doing, maybe make it in a different way, maybe get a new risk assessment. So it's very important to have it written. And the last one, we need to monitor and review, as we said. So after the writing for the risk assessment in a few days' time or a month or a few months, we need to check how many accidents has happened. Even though I'm doing the risk assessment, there are so many risks involved. There are so many accidents has happened. Then maybe your risk assessment is not good enough. You need to change it. You need to add extra steps. So now to answer this question where it says carry out risk assessment with on setting. So what would you answer this question? That's question number 3.2. So if you were going to answer this question, for me, if I'm going to answer this question, I would say in my own setting, in my nursery, I always make sure before I plan any activities to do risk assessment. Why? Because I need to eliminate any risk or hazard could affect the children's health. And even though I'm allowing the children to have fun, experiment, develop their skills, but also in the meantime, I need to make sure that this hazard is under control. So I do the risk assessment. So one of the situations when I created any activities, then all I need is to make sure that, for example, create any activities. I say I'm planning to take the children. So when I'm planning to take the children out, I need to create this risk assessment. So what I do, I go outside, make sure there is no hazard there. Check all the areas the children wouldn't fall, wouldn't hurt themselves. Then I need also to remove any items which is dangerous for the children, and also record my my findings and my risk assessment, and when I did it, record it in details. And this recording is very important. So if any accident has happened while after I've done my risk assessment, then I can monitor this risk and maybe change my risk assessment in the future to make it something more suitable. So where we were. So when we started answering the question, I said, so when I take the children outside to the garden, first thing I need to do is go to monitor anything dangerous in the area, make sure there is no holes in the garden, no sticks that the children can use to hurt themselves or hurt each other, no tiles being moved from its place, everything clean and tidy and nothing dangerous for the children. Then after that, what I need to do is make sure to write it down. So I write my findings in the risk assessment booklet, and after a while I need to monitor and review my hazard, my risk assessment, just in case there are so many accidents has happened after I'm doing my risk assessment. Then I might need to change the risk assessment procedure, or maybe develop it a little bit or get a new one to make sure to eliminate the risk involved to the maximum. Is this clear? So you always talk about yourself when it comes to reflective account. It's very, very important. Now, how about question 3.5? Reflect on own role in the setting when managing risk. So what's your job? How you can manage risk in the setting. So if I go to 3.5, let us see what's there. So how can you, what's the question again? Reflect on own role in the setting when managing risk. So what do you do to manage risk? What's your job to manage risk?
Seek help.
So you say in the nursery where I work. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, please say anything. Yeah, I'm very happy to get you all involved. It's really good.
I said looking for help.
Okay.
What I'm doing.
So for you to manage risk or minimize risk, what would you do? You say in my setting, in the nursery where I work, even though I love the children to have fun, to play, to explore the environment surrounding them, to develop their skills, I need to think about how much risk involved in every single one of the activities they do. Yeah, this would mean I need to act as a role model. So always make sure to show the children how I do it in the right way. Why? Because the children will copy my action, and they will do it same way I'm doing. So it is very important to show the children how I can use the right procedure. Also, I supervise the children. So what I do is I always supervise the children and make sure I have good, like an eye on them. So if there is anything dangerous, I keep warning them. I tell them straight away. If they are, for example, if they are standing on the seat, I would say, can you please get off the seat? You shouldn't, this is for us to sit on. It's not for us to stand on. It's very dangerous because the seat might move and then you hurt yourself. Okay? So I always watch the children.
Hello. Yeah. Lana.
Yes, and remind them about any. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. If the children is not listening, like we are doing the risk assessment intentionally, and the child is not listening, how do we manage them? How do we make them know that you have to follow this?
Well, you need to use praise. So you need to praise the children who are sitting quietly and following your order. So when you say to them, we shouldn't, for example, if he's standing on the chair and he doesn't want to get off the chair and he just insists to do this, I would maybe pick one of the other children and say, look at, for example, Jimmy, or look at Diana. They are very quiet. They are so lovely and so sweet, and they don't jump on the seat. They don't hurt themselves. You will hurt yourself. Then we have to call ambulance. Your parents would know. So many things. You need to tell them exactly what's going to happen if he stays there. You need to tell him that he might hurt himself. Then the damage might be very dangerous for his legs. He might not be able to walk for a while. So many risks involved. You need to tell them exactly what's there, and then also praise another children who's sitting quietly playing. You just tell them, go and play with them. They are so lovely. They are expecting you to go and play with them. They need you there, because two kids sitting to play are not enough. They need third one. So you go and jump and play with them. Don't sit here. This is not a game. I don't do it myself. If I do, I might hurt myself and then wouldn't be able to walk for a long time. And then there should be another teacher to come and teach you. Yeah, so you need just to tell them what's the risk involved, and maybe praise another children to tell them that these children are doing well and doing good, and we should just follow that. Yeah, and tell him that you wouldn't do this yourself, even though you are very much older than him or her. You can't do that. Why? Because you would hurt yourself. You're worried about yourself, and just say, I'm worried about you because I like you. You are a very lovely kid, and I need to take care of you. Yeah, they will listen. You just need to tell them about the danger involved.
Thank you, good answer.
So now where we are. Yeah, so now if I reflect on own role in the setting when managing risk. So what would you do to manage risk? First of all, I need to keep an eye, keep watching the children, make sure they are safe at all times. In my setting, this is what I do. So how to answer this question? I always talk about myself, my experience, my skills. You don't talk in general. That's very, very important. To pass, you need to talk about yourself. So to answer this question, I would say, for me as a child, as a person, or as a child care practitioner. I make sure that I always monitor the children, make sure they are safe at all times, even though I allow them to have fun, to experiment the environment around them, but I also to learn so they can develop their skills, but I always monitor them so I can manage the risk if there's any risk involved. And also I act as a good role model to keep the children safe. So always do the best practice. If there is anything dangerous, I don't do it. So the children will be copying me at all times. Also, I supervise the children, I monitor them. It is very important. So if there is something just about to happen, I warn the children and I tell them about the risk involved. So it is always my responsibility to watch these kids to minimize the hazard. Is this understood? I don't want to jump to another question. If you don't understand, we can do it again.
No, thanks.
Yeah, good, excellent.
So what I did, sorry, Lana.
Yes.
I think it's in general. Self-reflection is an important part of practitioner, learners, and development. Thinking about the action and decision, including what we did well and what require improvement. What else? This is in general what I did. So we need to talk about our experience or our.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you change it, please go to the book, read the book.
Yeah, I read
watch
the book.
Video,
I took this
understand
from the
it,
book.
And yeah, write it. Oh, yes, yeah, I know, but this is to give you ideas. It's not. This is not the answer. You need to, if it is reflective account, you need to write about your own experience, your own skills, yourself.
D'accord, okay.
Just say, this is what I do. This is how I do it. But you shouldn't just keep it general. Otherwise, our body wouldn't be happy with this answer. Yeah?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So now let us go back to the reflective account. It says complete records of the event of an accident. So how would you complete a record of an accident?
We need to follow the guidelines or reporting injury.
Exactly, very good. So when I record any accident, yes?
Yeah, disease and dangerous.
So this is when there's an accident.
Yeah.
Just say, in the nursery where I work, I always, if there is any accident happening, I always complete recording for this accident. I need to report it as well. So if there is any child has fall, or any child has choke on food, or any accident become an emergency, then I need to record it, which is very important. So, for example, now, what kind of accident can happen? So children might be choking on food, maybe not able to breathe because he's got asthma, and suddenly he didn't have the asthma pump with him. A child maybe have got severe bleeding. A child has fall and then he broke his arm and then the bone is sticking out, for example. A child has a severe burn for some reason, or maybe difficulty in seeing, or feeling sick suddenly. So all these are accidents. So what would you do to when these type of accident happening, obviously call 999. First of all, you need to inform your manager, and then you will be calling 999 to bring the ambulance. Yeah, so this is what's happening. So how you can complete records in the event of an accident. So for me to answer this question, I say accident could happen in the in my workplace, even though I'm always make sure I do the correct risk assessment. But if there is any accident happened, first of all, I need to these accidents, for example, you to make the person who's reading your assignment think that you know a lot. So it's good to give an example. You say accident could be like a child hurt himself and start bleeding. Or maybe a child who choked on something. Maybe a child who forgot his asthma pump and start having real difficulties in breathing. So all these accidents, I need to complete records of it. So first of all, I start writing when this accident has happened, and I need the time. Did we call 999? What happened? What of the child? How old is he? Or I need to go after that. What's the outcome? Did we take the child to the hospital? Did they stay there for a long time? Or did he just was discharged fast from the hospital? Or did we just call the ambulance and they arrived to monitor the accident and
inform the parents?
The risk, like what happened to him or her, and then gone. I need to write everything. Also, did I inform the parents? I need to put this in the record as well. So this is to complete the record of the event. So to answer this question fully, I would say in my nursery, even though I'm always doing risk assessment when any activities relates to the children. However, this accident might be severe bleeding, might be children has a fall, break his arm, and their bones are sticking out the arm. The child might be choking on something and then stop the breathing, suddenly become blue. So all these accidents, I need to report it to my manager straight away, call the ambulance to take care of the child. So to complete a record of this, first of all, I need the child name, his name, his parents' contact details, when this accident has happened, day and time. Also, I need to write in details what has happened exactly. And I need to put as well what happened after that. Did we send the child to the hospital, or did an ambulance came, check on him or them, and said that the child is fine? And also I need to put in the report, did we inform the parents? Write it down. And what happened after that? Did the child recover from that? How long it take him to at home? I need to put all this to complete the record of an accident. Okay?
Lana, there is some settings that have
yes.
Accident form. Just we answer about the question in the form.
Yes.
And give a copy of this form to the parents.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's not just record from us. It's not just fill in paper sheet. It's just fill in the form. Like there are limited questions in the form.
Yeah, not only fill in the form. You need to. Yeah, absolutely answer all the questions in the form, and give a copy to the parents because they need to have a lot more details. Like we inform them that the child has hurt himself or herself, but we need to give them details about the accident, why it's happened and when and what happened after that. Did we call the ambulance? Like lots of questions will be answered, and then at the end, what happened to this child, and this is all need to be recorded as well.
Yeah, the necessary questions.
Very good, thank you. Yes, exactly. They are very necessary, need to be answered. Excellent, thank you. Our incident. So, what incident could happen in the nursery?
Fire.
The child may fall off sometimes and hit his head.
Yes. A dangerous situation could be an incident.
Fire.
Become a serious real threat. Yes.
The child may
like if the child go missing, suddenly you count the children. Sorry, the voice just comes and goes. Can you say it again? Yeah, so incident might happen. The child gone missing. The child came to the nursery. You put him on the register, but then you look, you count, the child is not there. So and you can't find him quickly. You looked everywhere, it's not there. So it's become an emergency. You need to involve the police. So emergencies could end in the nursery, or maybe they could fall and have a lot of blood. They hurt their eyes, or any potential life-threatening situation. This is could be an accident or an incident. So in this situation, what would you do? How are you gonna complete the record? So these incidents need to be recorded. Same thing. You need to put the child name, the child age, when this incident has happened, why it happened, lots of questions you need to answer. What happened? Did the child visit the nursery? Did you why this child disappeared? So it is very important and serious. You need to report it as a start. You need to record it to the inspection and also for agencies, for offices. These incidents need to be reported. Any health and safety executive depends on the incident itself. So that's why we need recording. It's very important to record it. We need to inform the parents. So first of all, I need the day and time for the incident, the name of the child, full name, what the type of the incident or emergency has happened, details of these incidents, and also how this incident emergency was responded to, by whom. Did we call the police? Did we call the ambulance? What did they do? It's very, very important. And then at the end, obviously your name and signature on this report, because it should be created by someone. So if, let us say, there is parents has got any issues, they come back and ask this report. So that's why they need to be reported to someone. So the person who wrote this report, they need to sign it. They need to put their name as well. So just for you now to answer this question where it says for incident, what you would do to record, fully record for the incident. You say, even though we are always doing risk assessment, in the nurseries, incident can happen. For example, if the child gone missing, even though he's being registered on the when he entered the nursery, and suddenly we look for the child everywhere, can't find him. In this case, we inform the police. We will be informing his parents. So what I would do in this case, I would fill a form to inform about the child, the time of the incident, the date of the incident, the full name of the child, his age or her age, also the details of the disappearance and what happened after. Did we call the police? Did we call an ambulance? And also, did we look for him them everywhere, for him or her everywhere? Did we find the child somewhere? Did we inform the parents? All this need to be recorded, and after that I need to sign the form and also put my name in. It's very, very important. Is this clear?
Yeah.
You can here put anything. You can put any example. Let us say an example of child missing. So what would you do in the? I would say in my nursery, if there is any child missing, I follow the policy and procedure. Make sure I look for the child everywhere. Then I immediately go and report the missing child to the manager. Line manager immediately contact his parents, and if I can't find it at all, then we have to get the police involved. If I look everywhere in the premises, can't find the child, then we should get the police involved and to record this incident. What I should do, just like what we said, we need the name, the date, time, full name of the child, the age, what happened in details, how did we recover from this, did we find the child somewhere in the corridors or in the toilet, or did they manage to escape from the nursery, did we inform the child parents? All this need to be recorded in there, and then I need to put my name and signature for this record. Also, there are so many other accident or incident can happen. So, for example, aggressive behavior of the child. So the child has got aggressive behavior. Suddenly he start kicking, hitting. So what would you do in this? Kicking, hitting other children around him. So you talk to him nicely. Try for him to stop this dangerous. Yeah, exactly. Try to show him that his other kids, how other kids are sitting quietly and nice, and they need him to play with them, so he can maybe join them. But you always need to report this incident to the manager, especially if it is dangerous incident, while the child start hitting, kicking, and he's very aggressive to you or to one of your colleagues. You need to inform his parents as well. It's very important. So how about if there is a leak, gas, fire, bomb threat, all this, what would you do? You straight away obviously call 999 or 112. As soon as you have this information, it's very important. And obviously use the closest exit if there is any fire happening, or then make sure to evacuate the building. So this is just information for you. You can use. You say, we've done this, but in the meantime, we reported this accident. So, for example, threatening behavior of an adult, of a parent's visitor. So what would you do? And this, like, let us say one of the parents coming to say, why did you treat my kid in a bad way and start shouting and start yelling at you and very aggressive towards you? So what you should do is stay calm, listen to them, understand where they come from, and encourage them to maybe move with you to go to the manager's office. Just say the kids might be very scared if you keep shouting like this. It's not good. Let us go to move to the manager's office so we can discuss it. You discuss it. This is still the parents is still very aggressive. They don't listen. They're just to fight or shout, or then you call 999. You speak to your manager. He will call 999 to avoid escalating the situation. Become very grumpy and very, very angry, might be start hitting or kicking or fighting or beating one of the employees. Then you have to call the police. And this maybe also evacuate the building. Make sure that all the kids are taken to the garden to play. Because he's shouting and maybe making a big problem. So it depends on the situation and how big it is. For example, in the case of flooding, we don't have this problem in Croydon, luckily, but if there are any nurseries close to the beach area, then they should call 999 straight away if they have any flooding. But it could happen flooding in our area. Why? Because the pipes might be broken and suddenly you see lots of water coming from everywhere. You don't know what to do. There are so many kids out there. So you call 999, then they come, maybe they send fire brigade to help you to evacuate the building and maybe bring someone to fix it. So we need to make sure, or maybe take the children upstairs if this accident happening downstairs and the fire, if this incident and the water is everywhere in the downstairs floors, you go upstairs, make sure all the children with you, and then call the police to take care of the situation. So for you to answer this question for the incident, just say in my nursery, I always make sure I do risk assessment to avoid any hazard or any risk involved. However, sometimes incident happening, like the child could go missing, or a water pipe could get burst, and then it's a flood in the lowest floor. First of all, I need to make sure that the other children are safe, so we evacuate the area. If evacuate the area, make sure all the children go to the first floor. Then we call 999 to make sure we control this, and then I need to report it. I need to put date and time for the incident, also what happened in details, and what's the conclusion of this. It is very important, and also report it. Is this
Yeah.
How about emergencies? What would you do in the emergency time?
When emergency happen, to make sure that we take like
Yeah.
we count the children and make sure that not any child left behind.
Very good, excellent. So make sure that the children are not affected by this emergency. Let us say, what emergency could happen? A fire in the kitchen, or emergency has happened. The fire alarm keep beeping, and it doesn't stop beeping, and you don't know if there is a fire has happened or this is just an emergency. You don't know. So you need to make sure all the children are away from the
place.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first priority is to keep
So when it comes,
the children safe. Yeah.
exactly, very good. Always our priority is to keep the children safe. So student or who's the staff member involved, and then what's our responsibility? We need to know whom to report it to in any emergencies. So
Yes.
is there anyone who would like to participate in this? Yes?
The connection is very weak, Miss.
Yes?
And even the image is freezing and incidents. I don't know if I can't see nothing.
The
Yeah,
connection.
same for me. Everything is
Ah.
freezing. Even you is freezing. Only the sound is.
It was freezing for a while.
Oh, okay. Can now I'm going to refresh the page. Is it working now?
No.
Not
Say
yet.
again?
Not yet.
Is it working?
No.
Not yet. Well, this is the last question. So this is the last question anyway.
Me too,
Maybe
yeah.
we have just to get on with it. You hear my voice. Yeah, I'm really sorry. The internet connection is really today.
Yeah, the page
I don't think
is
it's
stuck
well.
in accident.
So let us. Oh, okay.
Unlikely event, yeah.
But did you understand what did? So,
Yeah, we follow.
yeah,
Yeah.
so did you understand what we were talking about?
Yeah, we understand.
Excellent.
Thank
That's
you.
very, very important. Excellent. So now if I answer just the last one, which is emergency, to report it. So for you as a person who's working in a nursery and suddenly a pipe burst, that's an emergency. You don't know what to do. The area is full of water. What would you do? How to report this incident? First of all, do you need to start reporting straight away or
No.
recording? I mean, first of all, you need to let someone know, which is the manager, because she might be sitting in her desk, on her desk, she doesn't know. So you need to inform every one of the staff, and then you start evacuating the children to go upstairs. Okay? So now this is an emergency, and then call the 999 to solve this issue. Okay, and now how can I report it? First of all, I need to put the date, the time this has happened, and also who is involved, which one of the staff was there. What did you do? Did you take all the children upstairs? So I answer all the questions in the report. I put that I've been monitoring the situation. We took all the children upstairs, so I put this in the record. And then also I write what happened after that. Did the police arrived? Did they send someone to monitor the pipe? What happened after that? Did we manage to bring a plumber to fix it? Did we manage to dry the area? All this needs to be reported. And also I put in the report that I informed the management, and straight away we called the ambulance. All this in details. And then when I finish, and what happened after that is being fixed, and now everything is good for the children to be in. Then I sign the form and give and keep it in our records. Is this understood?
Yeah.
Yes.
Am I frozen now, or can you hear me?
Yeah. Sorry.
Now it's fine.
Now it's comes. Yeah.
No, it's good now, Miss.
I see the connection is good.
Yeah,
Could you
it's
please
good
talk
now.
to me?
Yeah, the page.
Shall we finish? Okay, yeah, I can see bad quality network.
So sorry, Lana.
Yeah.
This question, please. For the emergency, what I understand, we need to give some example, yeah?
So say
Call the
again.
manager and staff and call 999.
Yes,
maybe
exactly.
receive
So
plumber. We need to
just
give
an example.
Yeah,
Yes.
we follow steps.
Yeah.
And after all this happened, exactly. And
And
then
right,
after all this happened, because we need to say, how did you record it? And then I
And
start
right,
recording the emergency. I put the date. Yes, exactly. I put the date, the time, who was involved, how many people were taking care of the children. Did we inform the management? And also I put in the report that we spoken to the police and they arrived on time. And then we brought a plumber to make sure to fix the issue. And we dried the area so it is safe for the children. Sign this emergency form and keep it in our record, because something might happen and then the parents will come back and inform us about that. So you need to put it in a writing, in a form, yeah? With all the details. If they come and say, can we get more details, what happened, then you might forget about it after a while. While if you have it recorded, you show it to them. So when you talk about this, just say, I did this. This is how I done it. After I contacted to my manager contacted the police, then we evacuated the area. We went upstairs with the children. We brought a plumber, they fixed the issue, and we dried the area. And after that, I started recording this accident. I put the time, exactly how many kids were there, how many staff were there, how long it take to fix this issue. Did we try to put all the details there, and why did this has happened? Like, was it a pipe got broken? How that happened? All this I put it in details, sign it, date it, put my name, and save it. Very important. Is this all clear? So now we finished all the questions. If you need any of these questions, I can repeat it, do it with you again. Do you need me to repeat anything? Oh, you're good, you're clear.
Yes, clear.
It's clear, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's clear, thanks.
Yes, sorry, teacher, this is unit 5?
Okay, excellent.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Please make sure for us, we have a deadline for this unit, which is next Tuesday. So by next Tuesday, I want everyone to submit. This is unit 2.3. It's unit 6.
Unit 6.
Yeah?
Yes, thank you. Yes, today.
Yeah, it's the number of the unit is 2.3, but for us, it's the 6th one that we study in.
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
That's
How
why.
many units you have so far, Miss?
Okay.
Great, thank you so much for attending. If you don't have any questions, then we can end the session.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah? All good? Do you need me to repeat anything?
Everything.
The connection is